Hi, this is Alicia Bright. This is the last time I'm going to be lecturing at you. And I want to talk about excellence and how that pertains to leadership, and a little bit about creating a preferred future. Martin Luther King said, "In all that you do, reflect the excellence that's in you." I believe that we all have capacity for excellence, and the idea is to express it in each thing that we do the best we can at that time. Excellence requires discipline to stay focused on being that good that often. It requires choreography because being that good that often, it takes making choices. You have to prioritize. You may have to give a little here in order to make gains in another area. So it's a little bit of a dance. It requires taking responsibility and acknowledging when you didn't do quite as well as you would have liked to do, not for the purposes of beating yourself up. That's a waste of energy. For the purposes of simply evaluating what happened and how would you like it to be in the future? How would you like to be better? This involves a great deal of caring and engagement and a good, healthy skepticism. So, have a little skepticism about what people say to you and have a little skepticism about your own beliefs. Be willing to sort of review your beliefs and question your assumptions. Again, not to the point where you're tearing yourself down, but simply to the point where you acknowledge your capacity for growth and you not acknowledge your capacity to learn and to do a little better in the future. This takes perseverance. And it takes passion. The passion is what gives you the energy to persevere. And so when you choose where to put your energies, pick the things you love. Indulge your passions. People who strive for and expect excellence really set a tone for excellence, question the status quo. When I started nursing in the 80s, I still heard a lot about this is how we do because this is the way it's always been done. Uh, Evidence-based practice has changed that. We've become much better about thinking critically about how we do things and trying to improve processes. But this is what creates excellence, the ability to question, challenge, examine assumptions, review those. Maybe they're faulty assumptions. Maybe we have learned more since those assumptions were made and decisions based on those assumptions were enacted. And come up with thoughtful and realistic alternatives for how things can be done differently. Which leads me to a comparison with a slide that I showed actually in an earlier lecture this semester, talking about leadership. When you strive for excellence, this increases your capacity for leadership. This bit about having a vision, you really have to think more deeply about things and come up with an idea of how you would like things to be in order to communicate that vision to other people. And this it sort of stems from leadership, ideally. Leaders affect change, manage conflict, empower other people, serving as a symbol to the group. And what better inspires followers than excellence, right? If you know of a leader who is committed to excellence, that it's a much more exciting person to follow. You're willing to line up and support that person because you're more excited about what they're going to bring about. Where are they leading you? If they value excellence and you value excellence, there's a lot of passion there that can create a lot of positive change. So this is straight out of your book, and I just really appreciated this idea that excellence is not necessarily comfortable. Again, don't push yourself to be perfect. Perfection and excellence are two different things. Excellence is obtainable. Perfection simply is is not on a daily basis. That's all I'm going to say about it. But excellence involves caring more than others think is wise, risking more than others think is safe, dreaming more than others think is practical, and expecting more than others think is possible. It's pushing the limits a little bit. So, some of you are just a little more comfortable pushing the limits than others. Um, play with that idea and see how it fits for you. I want to remind you of the butterfly effect. Um, when we're talking about creating a preferred future, realize that little things that you do right now have large consequences. Little interactions that you have with people influence the relationship that you will have with them in the future, especially in the beginning of the relationship. So, right now, in the beginning of your career, if you make a concerted effort to strive for excellence in every encounter, and like I said, not perfection. This isn't going to beat you up. Don't use it to beat yourself up, but strive for excellence. Strive to be better and better, and strive to do the best you can in every encounter that you have as you launch your career, because the little things that you do now will have larger effects down the road. Also, in your textbook, I hope you read this part about the different kinds of futures. I appreciated thinking about it this way. The probable future is that which is likely to occur if things continue as they are and if no changes are made. The possible future is what can occur if some changes are made in the current state of affairs. A plausible future is what's likely to occur when specific efforts are made to accomplish those goals. Is this plausible? If we make these changes, can our desired future come about? And the preferred future is sort of the ideal future, what we'd really like to see happen. We may not get to the ideal version of that preferred future, but we can certainly make changes in the way things might have been, in the way things are going to be, from the way they might have been. So I want you to think about what your preferred future is. Developing yourself as a leader will, in fact, help you develop your preferred future. And I encourage you to continue to nourish your leadership capacity. Take courses on leadership. There are, bigger courses and smaller courses. Sometimes you can take a course, you might go to graduate school, or you'll just do continuing education courses. Games, simulation, role-playing. This is vicarious learning. This is really helpful in helping you to play with how it feels to be in a leadership role and make those tough decisions sometimes. So, playing games is important, actually. Develop sensitivity towards people and towards situations that you're not familiar with. Learn how groups work, and seek good role models. There are different organizations that specifically cultivate nurse leaders. Your National Student Nurse Association, well, you're graduating soon. You're not going to be student nurses much longer. But the American Academy for Nursing has an Institute for Nursing Leadership. Look it up, find out about it. Sigma Theta Tau, of course, their whole focus is on cultivating nursing leadership. So is the National League of Nursing. They have programs that are available, and there are different nonprofit foundations. When you're at work, develop mentoring relationships. Take temporary positions sometimes. Check out new areas. One of the more exciting things that I did when I worked for the University Hospital in New Mexico was every once in a while they would ask for volunteers to go and do something completely different and very unusual, and I would take them up on it. You never know who you're going to meet when you do that, and you're never going to know what kind of experience you get that will just widen your perspective and cultivate your ability to make decisions and to lead. Join committees. Try internships. And then, of course, reflection and self-assessment. Continue to have a reflective practice. Journal. Meet with your colleagues and just chat about what happened. Have debriefs. Have postmortems. Discuss what happened and how we can do better. And I've got to put one last plug in there for mentoring. Mentors, well, I've said a whole lot about it over the last few years. I continue to talk about it. But these are close, trusted, experienced counselors or guides, often in the same profession. But these aren't necessarily people who are older than you, or these aren't necessarily people who have been around a whole lot longer than you. It's great if you can get an old veteran, but sometimes somebody who's a little closer to your level can give you a lot of really good guidance too. So when you're looking for a mentor, your mentor is looking for certain qualities. And a lot of times, mentors look for people who are compatible with them and people who have potential. They like to cultivate potential in people. They like to help people grow who are going to be engaged, who are going to be persevering, who are going to be strong. And of course, the benefits of mentoring are available to both the mentor and the protege. It increases the network of each person and increases diversity in viewpoints. Fostering somebody's capacity does not mean making a mini me, right? Fostering somebody's capacity may grow someone to a point where they actually have differences of opinion, but those can be respectful and can be discussed, and both people will grow from those differences. Okay, now I want to just broaden your viewpoint a little bit. We're going to talk about future trends because as you're developing your capacity for excellence and your leadership skills, you need to remember you're going to be practicing in context, in a larger social context. I have to say, this semester has illustrated this fact more than any time in the history of my teaching this course, which isn't very long, but it's the biggest impact, the biggest change in healthcare that I can remember. And in fact, this historical pandemic creates a context for that demands our willingness to look at the bigger picture in which we practice. The future trends that are showing up that have been traditional. Of course, we all know medical technology is advancing. Other kinds of technology are advancing. Who knew we'd all be so dependent on the internet? In simply, it flipped over in about 2 weeks. Suddenly, we're all very dependent on the internet. Pandemics are one of the predicted changes that have been coming down the pipe. We've been knowing this pandemic was on the way. Now we've got it. It's changing our future. Other things that have been expected are increased wildfires, and we've seen that happen over the last 3 years. Climate change is going to bring more issues. Sea level rise, disruption in food chain production, movement of populations, refugees. There's going to be a lot of changes happening in the future. Public health needs are going to be huge. I've talked to several of you who are interested in going into public health, and boy, is this a good time to do it. I think we're going to see a resurgence. We had a golden age of public health around the turn of the last century. I think we're going to see it again. And another future trend is, of course, this is the one that we've known about, is baby boomers are getting older. We have an aging population, and a lot of countries do. And remember, in a global perspective, there are a lot of countries with the vast majority of the population is under 30. So there are countries that are older, but there are a lot of countries where education is the huge issue because most of the country is so young. So I'm just going to show you this view from the front door of Meadowlands and tell you that I'm going to quit preaching at you now and send you out there to cultivate your own leadership skills and and achieve your potential. And good luck to you. And I'll be here. And I look forward to hearing from you. So there you go. We still have a month left of school, but what I'm going to be doing now is hearing a lot from you in terms of presentations, in terms of your thoughts and your writing and your papers. And I'm looking forward to hearing all of that.